M.I.A. update. M.I.A. doubles down on a live, ranting about BLM, Jayz, Beyonce, and some personal thoughts on her ex, that is the father of her child. She also mentioned Kanye West and the things he has been saying as well. RocNation apparently dropped her as a musical talent and client prior to her emails not going through to Jayz, as it was reported she had then did the same type of behavior before towards them, so they put a wall up supposedly. In her recent live, she continued to express her thoughts and opinions on Black African American cultures, as well as dipping into the Jewish culture, and in her words, wealth. Then jumping into the topic of mother and child connections and her custody battle. Yes, there has been some proof. Some members of the Brofman family have and may still have connections to some scary, sick shit. But again, why is she putting Jayz and Beyonce on the hot plate for all to look at? Most of us are well aware and not blind to Jayz's dirty secrets and connections. But she doesn't really have the evidence to back up her allegations of the Carter family, helping work against M.I.A. and her custody battle, claiming her former manager Jayz of being paid off or bought by the billionaire family of Seagram's heirs and heiresses. Maybe Jay's secrets and wrongdoings will someday come to light, and M.I.A. possibly has brought all these to the internet for things to stir up and boil over. What do y'all think about all this? Is there more depth to this whole story and situation? About a year ago on the Candace Owens show, Candace interviewed M.I.A., speaking openly about her stance on USA's propaganda and apparent lies. It was said she was supposed to be highlighted in Vogue and a GQ award due to her outspoken views and her honest thoughts on certain topics. Neither event happened, and she was literally canceled. The double-edged sword and selling your soul to all these fake and evil worlds of fame, money, and so-called success. You know, she was discussing all that and going into details, which people do not like in that industry. This older interview and episode also dived into the whole Democrats and the left stance supposedly has in Hollywood. She was also sued for $60 million for giving the middle finger at the Super Bowl. She then explained how Beyonce was praised for putting up a fist in support of the Black Panthers, and how it was accepted and allegedly strategically planned and linked to, at the time, Hillary Clinton's campaign. They both discussed how power is chosen and steps over many boundaries. M.I.A. seems to want to understand the way things work and run in America, and honestly, whether you agree with her stance on things or not, she does seem to care. In a way, it does seem that we as Americans do seem to praise and follow the lead of many false idols in many of the rich and famous people that we see. It does seem the more you chart and dive into the rabbit hole, it does imply that many of these people run more than just what you think. They seem to be using their power and influence to sell, promote, or act out a stance or love for a product, project, or a political topic. And the many fans and stans fall in line and always obey. We need to showcase and focus on more real shit. I do feel gatekeepers in all genres and aspects of media, public relations, and politics, for the most part, are chosen on purpose, not for their morals, education, facts, and opinions, but because they hold the key to influence. And indeed, they pull in the votes and the money to help their cause, whether it's good or bad. Business and industry plants are all over the place. Just like online bots and trolls, not everything and everyone is what it seems or real. Around the same time as she was with Candace Owens, M.I.A. also made a stop at Stay Free with Russell Brand. She made mention that she was not trusting the system of things here. She felt she was, considerably being USED and being titled as an artist, where she didn't make it sound bad, but the people approaching her and telling her that that's what she was, putting it in a negative light. The creative outlet and vision that was, that was hers, and that's all they wanted to keep her as, is what she was claiming. And that was taken and given to an already popular, influential artist. For example, some people think when Beyonce was doing some photo shoots and some looks that seemed to appear cultural of like Hindu, they felt that was because it was already taken from the styles and photos and vibes from the artist M.I.A. The 48-year-old British rapper originally became well known because of her politically charged dance hip-hop world beat-like music. She is spiritual and open to discussing. As she says, she's open to always learning new things. But not long ago, Diplo actually had spoken about his past with her as well on a YouTube podcast, and he had said when they dated, he met her father and how he saw a lot in her, and she was pushed to sign with Interscope at the time, and they created Paper Planes, which almost actually didn't make the album, which is pretty interesting. But he said Seth Rogen smoking weed to that song in a Pineapple Express promo made it like just explode and go viral overnight. Going back to M.I.A., Maya's father, he said he was a freedom fighter, and I apologize if I say it wrong, Tamil Tiger, who was into progressive ideas and movements, which had influenced her open mind and speaking, as well as her spiritual side, believing in human rights and becoming an activist for the people. Now, I think a lot of people are forgetting the timing of all this. Just days ago, Jayz pulled a Kanye West at the Grammys. Like, literally, again, a situation where Taylor Swift's there, poor Swiftie, and freaking he at least had the opportunity was his. The floor was his to speak. He had won and accepted an award. I'm trying to think. It was like some global impact award, I believe. Which, I don't know about you, but I haven't heard him making some impacts all over the world lately. I mean, just the timing is so sus. We had the P. Diddy thing, and he's tied in with P. Diddy very close. And in a sense, him and Beyonce's power and influence over everybody is kind of like faded a little bit. Did he know this stuff was going to come out? Did he know his name was going to be in headlines? I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments down below and give me a thumbs like. Please, thank you. And I will see you in a new video soon. I'm Leenda, and that's For the Record, Your Honor.
I am Instagramming live to show you that I'm not hinged, freaking out. Yes, a little bit, because I'm a mother. So I am. And you would too. And anybody who doesn't understand that is not a mum. And that's that. So, yes, last night I got an email from my visa processing place saying, hey, it could take up to 9 months, and I've already waited 2 months. Yeah, if you had to wait a whole year to get into the US to see your kid, and you have to make a choice between education and your time, and what the government is deciding to do for no one, yeah, you would ask questions. You would ask questions. And really, I got on Instagram to talk about the only counter thing that anyone can say to me right now is go, oh, M.I.A, aren't you anti-black, to turn these people against me. And that is the blanket they've always hidden behind, because this is a very sensitive issue. I haven't replaced my phone yet from the last Instagram live. Yeah, I just don't want to stay on here too long, but I want to say, if anyone who's got the question of like, hey, you know, this is racism, and it's like, it's not. I am a mum who's trying to get into the US to go and see my child. My child happens to be made up of the family who are currently at war in a different country, okay? And on the other side, that's the political side to why it might not be processed so quickly in the visa office of the government that they fund and campaign for. But it's about the fact that also Ben has got the black card, and he always get it out against me. And it's not that, like, Jayz did not choose not to help me at the time because I'm Indian, and he doesn't help Indians, and he chose Ben because he's black. It's not true. Jayz chose to stay out of it and keep quiet and take himself out of the picture. And you know, and I left RocNation because of course Jayz has to choose money. Jayz will always choose money, and that was the point. Like, I don't expect Jayz to help me, but I didn't know about those boundaries and those lines and about money until I experienced that. So until it hit my personal life in that way that involved my child, I did not know how much love for money, or of course respect, even, because Jayz has to respect the family that gave him Def Jam. If somebody gave you Def Jam and made you an executive of Def Jam, are you going to choose the mum and the child, or are you going to choose the boss? So this is not about race. Please leave race out of it. And this is important for me to clear this up for all the black people out there, that Jayz did not pick me because I am not black and Ben is black. That's not what happened. Jayz picked the family that put him on. And that is not Ben. That was Ben's dad, who's a different fucking race. And that is that. I just wanted to clear that up for you guys. So that's one thing on the race issue. The second thing is about the vaccine thing, I was specifically talking about permission. I think when it comes to a child's body, until that child is 18, both parents should have a right to decide what happens to that child. Unless you are completely beyond incapable as a human being, and you're a severe, incapable to raise a child, and which is not the case, because I work and I take care of people and I do all of these other responsible things. Looking after my child has not been a problem. So yes, both parents should have a say in what happens to a child's body, especially during a government that campaigns so hard about your body, your choice and rights and all of this stuff. What happens to a child? What happened to the parents' rights on that child? So no, I support equal rights for both parents to have a say if both parents are deemed capable and responsible people. And that's what I was talking about. It was about permission, which is it's also by court that we both have the right, So that is that. And I do feel bad that my child has to experience this during his birthday week, but I just got the email and I can be patient, and I have been, because I know I have to be patient, because he's been in school in America for 2 years. So, it's not about patient. And also, I moved to America in this time so that I can be closer to my child while education was happening in America. But while the education was happening in England, it's not difficult for his dad to move to London, but that never happened. So in that sense, I am doing a lot more. So I just wanted to clear those things up, that this is a unique situation because whoever has the authority to decide my visa, what are they influenced by in making this decision? Are they influenced by, obviously the person who's making the decision on my visa was not there 4 years ago. So it's a new person. This person's probably a lot younger than me. Probably super prejudice, probably racist, and probably is educated by all of these fake movements and divisions or narrative that's being painted in the last 4 years. Of course, if you filled yourself up with all of this BS that's happened in the last 4 years, you would also have problems deciding what is right. You won't be in a good place to put a mother and a child and a father in a row and decide what the right thing to do is. You would not. You would be 100% influenced by your racist ideologies, your national identity, your ethnic whatever, preference, your preference for finances and money and power. Those are the things you will be influenced by. This is why people like me are constantly kept in the chat, because we have to stay in the chat to remind people of like the humanitarian casualties that always get caught up when people decide by money, wealth, power, and how manipulating the systems causes casualties on every other level underneath it. So the issue here is not, me supporting, again, Julian Assange and freedom of speech and journalism, because I've been able to visit the United States for the last 14 years since he has been in jail or in the embassy. So it's not that. So what is different this time I applied? And, what is the difference? You have to use your critical theory mind, put it on, and be like, okay, what happened the last 2 years that changes the game on my visa situation? One is I spoke about vaccine, but even after that, they gave me the visa. So I'm going to rule that out. And yeah, I know that. I know who's running the circles, but the point is the circles are run by creating this fake illusion that this is about some sort of division. This is a division that was created in 2016 by painting the narrative that I am anti-black, and somehow siding with the wrong people is you being pro-black and for black empowerment, which is not the case. The reason why I became anti-black in this narrative and in the news and in the mainstream is because I stood up against the killing of Colonel Gaddafi, who I don't benefit from. I'm not the family that gained $1 billion from that. So if you want to talk about, black empowerment, there is two types. One is you can say, you can talk about Africa and what happened there, or you can talk about, yes, African American culture. And you know what? Until 2016, when it became fashionable, none of these people were saying that. They were all happy. And even today, the reason why nobody can speak up against the war is because it's not true. This is also what Kanye is saying, that behind that there's another thing. And, I think that's really important. And they took me fighting for equality and me making records or going to build schools in Africa out of my story so easily and so quickly. They were able to just turn that shit around and keep painting this narrative about my anti-black. So, how do you do that? How am I anti-black if the first thing I did with my money is go build schools in Africa and not even Sri Lanka? So it's a narrative that was specifically painted in 2016 for the rise of whatever this situation that Kamala Harris and Biden and all of these people were fighting against. It was actually Hillary Clinton that was running at the time, and George Soros. And it's not, yes, you can say, it's about certain narratives have to be built, but they took me out in that process. And they took me out not because I'm a racist white person, you know, or somebody who was anti-black. They took me out because I was a different kind of person talking about oppression, you know, and that narrative is different. I want to say that right is right and wrong is wrong, and you know, this is about representing all the mums in the world. And I think that sometimes maybe you have to do this in order for them to you know, now it's not about politics, now it's not about money, it's not about wealth, it's not about power. Like, they have billions of dollars, everyone's happy, everyone's wealthy, everyone's got what they want, everyone's got the power, everyone can manipulate news, elections, you know, whatever the outcomes of everything is. Everyone has this. But now it's about a mum and a child, you know, and that is where I am coming from. And when people say to me, hey, why don't you get an immigration lawyer, you know, who's going to help you, I'm finding it difficult to find one. I'm finding it difficult to find one who is not afraid of money and who can make decisions like King Solomon on what is right, not who has the most money. And that's the difference, because we have let human beings become like this over the last 5 years or 10 years and think it's okay for their behavior to constantly choose and make these decisions, at the same time preaching to us to be better people, be conscious, be environmentally friendly, you know, we must save people, let's vaccinate them like we care. While they're doing this hypocritical bullshit chat, their decisions are 100% always made by money. And this is why, and money and power, and this is why it's important to even educate them. It's even to break through the greed and the ignorance, because, and if I'm using my situation to explore this and explore these ideas, then fine. So yes, sometimes we need people in these places, whether there's lawyers and immigration people or whatever, who can make decisions based on just people, families, children, mums. So that is why I'm here today. My camera is turned green, is Matangi moding. For joining, and I want to say that yes, from personal experience, I can only speak from personal experience, and I'm not guessing things. I've been going through this for 14 years. I think I know what I'm talking about. And yes, on the timeline, the shit that changes is events in history. And, you know, the events that determined what I went through in 2014 are slightly more intense today. But is much more my camera is going, and I'm gonna buy a new phone right now, but the phone that I have is banned. It was banned all over the world because iPhone banned it, so I can't get it fixed anywhere. I am gonna buy an Indian phone and call you back.